Well, if we're going to do a cold opening, I'm just going to explain, like I did before, how I would kill someone.
I want to hear it. That's
Literally a cold opening, yeah.
Start it.
All right, check this. So,
I want to point out his flaws because I watched a lot of CSI Miami.
Okay. I'm a big Law and Order guy as well, but all right, try and check me, Ted. All right, so you take an icicle, right? Weapon you can't fingerprint, it melts.
Oh my God.
I
heard this.
Yeah, you heard this before,
Yeah.
right? Stab him in the neck. Chop up the body, cut it up, make it into slop, give it to pigs. Pigs can digest bones and fingernails. Take the shit, you can put it in the backyard and actually have a nice...
What pig farm are you going to?
No, I'm going to have pigs.
You're going to buy pigs?
Yeah, I'm going to get a couple piggies, put them in the backyard.
So after you kill them, what are you going to do with the pigs? Because they're going to find the pigs and they're going to wonder where they came from.
You can have pet pigs.
I don't know.
It's a red flag right there.
Yep.
What, do you think that the cops would be thinking about all of this because I have pigs?
Are you living in like a metro area?
You're
or
not
are you
fooling
like,
Holden.
No, you're not fooling
Him
me.
and Ted, and Wendy, they're all in the fucking conference room right now.
Tell Ted what my profile would be when he's trying to figure
That's
out.
what they'd be. They'd be like, oh, Holden, what do you got here? You're the profiling guy. He'd be like, 5'8", white guy, shaped like a fucking biscuit. They'll be like,
Have you got somebody, Holden? Someone you can't catch?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. Today we'll be talking about Season 2 of Mindhunter. I am Aaron the Nerd Soup Monkey, joined today by Nash, the robot, and Teddy. Yep. That's that's a good response, Ted.
I'm excited.
Couldn't say, hey, how's it going? Glad to be here.
Yeah, I want to get it going.
Okay.
Yeah. How about that? No?
No.
Okay.
Not any better. Save the nonsense for the cold opening. Okay?
Got it.
This is the actual.
this is
Now-
serious
yeah,
stuff.
now
This is the big boys.
tighten up the tie, look professional, act accordingly.
It's been a while, so I'm
True.
sorry.
Okay. Don't let it happen again.
Got it.
Yeah, Mindhunter. Season 2. Season 1 was a great surprise for me, and I really enjoyed it, and I was looking forward to Season 2, and I think it delivered on all fronts. What did you guys think about the season?
I agree. I think this season was better than the first season.
Ooh.
Mainly because I feel like the first season wrote a lot on shock value. You know, like we're getting this first-hand look on these serial killers. And a lot of it was them trying to build a case to keep this department in the FBI. And now in season 2, it pretty much sums up everything that we learned in season 1.
Yeah, they're in action now. And
Yeah.
I love season 1 because of the inception of this idea. It was kind of like, it is like Criminal Minds, that aspect of Criminal Minds, the profiling and all that stuff. It's the inception of this. And even in this season, too, they're still figuring it out. It is a very new system they're working on. And I enjoy, especially when they go interview all the serial killers and they go back and they have like that boardroom meeting and they're like, all right, well, what did we learn from this guy? How can we categorize this? What can we do with this information to help us later on? And we see them enact a lot of those new tactics throughout the season. What do you think of the season, Nash?
I loved it. I was a big season 1 guy, only for the fact that I like how it's a slow build up. It's slow in the beginning, but I just find it so fascinating with the whole, they start calling them sequence killers, even before serial killers were around. And before I started watching the show, I didn't know that they were real serial killers.
Yo, it's so funny that how when they use that term, no one knows what they're talking about. Like, we're so, like, especially today, true crime, serial killers, there's such a fascination with it, and a lot of people are drawn to it. But I always feel like they kind of like feel themselves like, yeah, we got a serial killer. Everyone's like, oh, what's that? And
yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, no big deal. It's just a term we made up. It's going to be fucking real famous.
Well,
soon.
you see throughout this season how the general public is just not used to this term because every time they bring up these killers, you say one story about Manson, Berkowitz, Brudos, Kempler, everyone just stops what they're doing.
Rallying those fucking names off.
Yeah.
It's like today, like when
It's
he's
ridiculous.
when he's at the barbecue in the
Yeah.
first episode, and I'm like, wait, you should talk to these killers? Like, I forgot who they mentioned, but they're like, holy shit, and everyone's gathered around him.
Yeah.
And that's just the fascination that everyone has with it. It's just something that I guess regular people can't really wrap their minds around.
We're always fascinated with a question that we can't find the answer to.
And there are a lot of aspects to this season. I mean, if we broke down all of them, which we already did, and the review was like an hour.
Yeah. So this is take 2.
So I figured, hey, maybe we should
Chop it down a little
this
bit.
a little, but there's just so many different things to talk about. Everything from all the interviews, the character moments, and the case itself, the Atlanta child murders, which even that alone you can talk about for hours. There's so many details to that, and it's just fascinating all around. But And I guess we'll start with the child murders. It does weave in. Everything does relate to that because there are a lot of tactics, like I said before, they use within the interviews that help them along here. And you see Holden trying to make his profile, and they don't know what this is. Like, how do you know?
Yeah, it's crazy how much politics played into that whole scenario down in Atlanta, where they couldn't really do anything because what are they doing? The election year is coming up, so like the last thing they want to do is say if there's a murderer or a child murderer out there.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
There's so much red tape they had to go through. I mean, with like the government and the officials and things like that, and even like you couldn't even properly flesh out the security for the concert. You're like, oh, we need to go here to these counties they have to agree upon.
It seemed like they didn't want to help too.
Yeah. Well,
like,
they do. They made it a point a couple times. Like, you can't trust everyone in the police force. They might be part of the Klan. They might not care about these people. And we see with the coalition of the mothers of the missing children, led by Mrs. Bell, no one's helping them. They basically have to trick. They trick Ford to come meet them. He thinks he's going on a nice date with a nice young girl he just met.
That sucks. That sucks. You get all decked out, get your nicest suit, your nicest shoes. You find out you're just there to save the day, not really get laid.
But this one, I really didn't know too much about, and the way they, I guess, they structured this, it was pretty intense because they're going through this, like we said, a lot of this red tape. This
actually happened.
I know.
It's what's so scary about it.
Mothers feel like nothing's being done. They're trying to implement their new system here, and people just keep going missing and dying. It started off, I don't know how many it was, but by the end, the next scene they were saying it's like it's number 23.
Yeah,
it's so eerie and grim. Just numbers just kept piling up. It was.
You know that this show was so good when they reopened the case to figure out if he did it or not.
Oh, in real
30
life?
years later, which is so fascinating.
And this scene really captures the sentiment of what's going on. It was at the church scene when they started off. Was it the governor or the mayor was giving a speech and everyone was on board. And at the end, they're like, "Well, what are you going to do? Our children are missing.
Yeah.
We can't walk." And they turn on them like that.
Yeah, they're saying that we elected you.
They don't know what to do. It's scary. They can't take the kids out. They can't do anything, and nothing is being done.
That was such a great scene.
Yeah, it was very.
When he was running with the cross.
That was.
And then when he was in the street and the camera lights and it started just like the colors started changing and everything.
I thought for sure he was going to walk up on someone like something happening with a kid. That's it. Like
I don't know what was happening because it was just the way they shot it, and he's just running with his cross.
Just let him run to this place.
It was so
like that. I was like, oh my god!
It was so different from the rest of the show how they did that scene, but it was one of the best scenes in the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best part about this season was the character development.
Well, yeah, I think in season 1 we had to really focus on Ford's personal life with Deborah, I believe her name was, and this one it took a turn to Tench and Wendy's, Dr. Wendy Carr's, their personal life and what their life is outside of the job.
Seeing a complete flip flop too. In season 1, Tench was calm, cool, collective, and
I like their dynamic. He's like the old school, like he's been in the game, and Ford's this young up and comer with these new ideas, and
where he's rushing it too much, where he's so like aggressive with his intuition, what he says. Mm-hmm. Seeing what happens to him with his anxiety attacks.
Oh, at Ford?
Yeah, and then you have Tench having to be his yang to balance him out, and Tench is supposed to watch over him, and then slowly throughout the series you see it going you see Holden getting more stable, and Tench is losing his mind because he has so much shit going on in his personal life.
Yeah, that was interesting. They kind of presented that in the beginning, the panic attacks, and I thought that would actually play out towards the end of the season. But
I like that it didn't.
Yeah, it's kind of just
it shows how he's getting one with these serial killers. How he's getting so into
it. When he's in the room with them and he's just fucking going off.
He's one of them.
when he's like doing his thing, it's a sight to see. He kind of had a couple of times when he was off his game and Barney came in and he was able to.
I like Barney.
Yeah,
Barney
better
was great.
Understand. Yeah, fuck Greg. Greg sucks. I mean. Yeah. It was funny though. What's the guy's name? Their gun. When he would come in and be like, Wendy, Tench, Ford, can I talk to you? Not you, Greg.
I like that. I hated him. He was a little shithead.
Yeah.
The ratting on everyone. You kidding me?
Yeah, he froze up too. Wendy had to come in to the rescue for that one.
Oh, I don't blame him for that though. I would totally I would get the yips.
Yeah, you're not a trained...
You're a palm sweater, that's why.
Yeah. A palm sweater?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a trained FBI agent.
I could be if I wanted to.
I'd work with serial
two
killers.
seasons of Mindhunter.
I got it all figured out.
I've been so consumed with Mindhunter, I feel like I can get away with murder.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, Ted.
Who would be the first person you kill?
Who?
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
Me? What the hell I do to you?
No, I don't like your presence.
You got it. All right.
I feel like he has a camera, like a little audio device, and he's linked in with the government.
You think he's like a spy?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, you little
I'm
rat.
not Greg.
It could be.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it didn't really come back towards the end of the season. They kind of, I don't know, I was waiting for something to happen. I was waiting for him to be in a room with one of these people and just have an attack. But he only really has it when he's talking to the old director, when he calls him out. It's like, you think I'm not retiring, you idiot?
He only really gets it when he actually feels threatened. And he felt threatened when he was getting freaked out on. And he felt threatened when Kempler hugged him, but he doesn't feel threatened when he's in the room with these killers, though.
You know what's funny about that? That he was so close with Kemper, and he was the one serial killer that he kept visiting, but he felt the most. That's where he got that first attack with him, which I found that funny. But
Tench's storyline, obviously the big thing is, well, he was our insight into BTK a lot. Besides the flashes, we saw him start basically that investigation.
Yeah.
Which BTK, by the way, they're teasing this guy like Thanos. He better come in strong next
I love
season.
what they're doing.
Yeah,
And
no,
I hope they keep doing this because he doesn't get caught until 2006, I think, or 2005.
2009.
I don't know, but they go to the Otero house and he interviews the kid Kevin, who was in the room with him.
That was a great
fucking
scene.
Yeah.
eerie, just hearing all the stuff he does. But the main thing is his family life and his son, what his son got involved with. Did you guys like this storyline? It felt a little too like the guy who's leading this new profiling thing has a kid that might be, has some tendencies.
Oh no, he's definitely a killer.
No,
I felt like
he's a weird little
it was a forced subplot for some like they wanted to put it in just to get Tench more involved. I guess I don't know, make Tench feel like he's human, or I don't know.
It did tie into more of, I guess, the interviews and the investigation, I would say. Because a couple times he, especially with the Henley thing, like the way he was trying to create a distinction in Henley's role, that's when he assisted the Candyman and the 20 young boys who he killed.
Yeah.
And he was trying to, like, I guess, create a distinction in that to better cope with his own son situation. He's like, well, Henley was a kid. He didn't actually kill. He was like, and
he was a victim of the situation.
And you saw that too with Manson, where he was kind of lost it in that interview as well.
And you're teaching your children. Look at yourself. Judge the lies you live in. These children that come at you with knives, they're your children.
They were your followers, Charlie. You gave them the knife.
You taught them. I didn't teach them.
Even Manson even calls him out on it, saying that he's bringing his home life into work. I thought the Manson interview was a really good one, and so was the Tex interview.
Yeah, and we also see Tench. He's more open to explore other possibilities more than Holden. Holden's very stuck on his own profile, where Tench, we see it a couple times, and I guess a lot to do with some of the interviews and information they got. I think with Hans, they said that he killed outside of his race, which is rare, and Tench probably, he's like, oh, we should look into that. Later on in the season, you see him more willing to look outside of the profile, which creates a little tension between Ford and Tench. But I don't know, the son, it's interesting.
You know what it is? It's Holden's the analytic guy, and Tench is just more of the eye test guy.
Yeah, Holden ruined baseball.
That's it. It's all his fault.
Did you guys like the whole Wendy thing?
I like Wendy's storyline. It really focused, like, she was exploring her sexuality in this new place where she isn't out, and also trying to find her way in a man-dominated field and just the toll that takes, because all of them are really
Uptight.
I would say Holden and Wendy more so. They're dedicated to their jobs.
Yeah.
Tench, he'll go back and forth and he'll try his best to maintain, but even he can't. As we see, his wife leaves with the child, with his son. At the end of the season.
I was actually happy to see that it was just that she left when he was.
Oh, you thought something bad was gonna happen?
I was happy to see that she left because when he was calling and not answering, I thought that maybe the son killed her, and that was going to be horrible.
Back to Wendy, I mean, we see her, like we said before, Greg, she gets the actual chance to interview some of the killers, and that's the Henley one, and she maneuvers that way, and she's able to get him talking a little more than Greg was, because Greg sucks.
Yeah, Greg clammed up.
But even that, she ends up, Gunn takes her off the interviews, too. Like, she can't, that's what she wants to do. She did a good job, but they still take her off. One of my favorite parts of the season, her and the Henley interview, and Henley, I thought, he's the same guy who played young Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. All the interviews I really liked. I know, Teddy, you're not the biggest fan of all the interviews, but I liked the way, especially with Berkowitz too, the way they were trying to get more insight into BTK, asking him if he went back to the sites and stuff.
I just didn't like that they were going back to the interviews and getting information that we knew, because they know that already. They know they go back.
It's a new thing. You need to have.
I just
more
felt like they
than
threw
one
that in
case.
just for shock factor for everyone.
It's
that's
cool.
Watching. Charles Manson and
I thought Manson
Berkowitz.
was the most egregious. They kind of just threw Manson in there, like, oh, Manson. Everyone knows Manson.
Yeah, but you had to do that. You had to do Manson.
No, Tex, you had to.
Tex was really good, so it led to that. So I guess it's not bad. But a quick little. I really liked the Son of Sam one. I think that was very eerie as well.
Oh, they called his fucking bluff so heavy.
Yeah, Holden pushed him about like how he made it all up.
Yeah.
I thought that was very good. It's great. And like I said before, I like how they go back and they kind of like they talk about it and they use it. Wendy said that she points out his desire to shift the narrative. and put it out in the press because he didn't want to be the 22 caliber
killer. Yeah.
He kind of made his own thing, and he was focused on how he was perceived, and they use that later on in the season when they try to find Wayne Williams. When we find out to be Wayne Williams, they put something in the press and everything. They're using these tactics that they learned into their investigation, and I thought that was very cool.
I liked Wayne Williams a lot. I liked his character. He was really good.
You know what it is with these characters too? Whoever does the costumes or the makeup, I mean, they're spot on. If you look at the pictures of the serial killers to the actors and actresses, I mean, they are unbelievable, man. Shout out to whoever's doing that.
What interview was your guys' favorites?
Oh, I loved Berkowitz.
Yeah, that was good. The Junior and Hans ones were cool because it was like when Holden, it's a different perspective. We used to Holden taking control, but this was Barney coming in. He was able to get them talking different ways with Candy or kind of tried a different tactic. And they got him talking a little. Henley was great. Kemper was cool again, fan favorite. Our favorite serial killer.
Yeah, he is.
Who chops off heads of his mother and...
Kempler's too much. They're using him way too much.
I love that guy, man. I love that guy.
I wonder how real it is, though. I mean, how much did they really use Kempler? I guess
he was.
I don't know.
I think it was.
If they did use him that much, I guess
I don't know if
put him
it's
in.
true, but it was kind of like he was the standout of last season. I thought Cameron Britton was great in the role, and they're like, hey, let's bring him back for a scene. Everyone,
I saw an interview with
him. Like a big fluffy teddy bear that will take your head off. Tex was really good too. I love the way
that was emotional.
Yeah,
that one really hit home.
The way he said like how Charlie brainwashed them and
why'd that hit home? Because you were all county and football.
Yeah, all American
football kid.
Yeah.
Don't join any cults, Dad. Stay away.
I'm trying not to. I feel like I'm in one right now.
Yeah.
There's something you want to tell us?
It's another thing that relates. I think they talk about Manson's influence over them. They relate that to Henley. So they all kind of connect. And then it all leads us back to the Atlanta child murders, and they do get Wayne Williams, and that last episode I thought was absolutely brilliant. The battle between Williams and the FBI, that slow car chase, him getting the food for him.
Yep. They were tailing him so fucking hard, dude. 8 cops, are you kidding? In a plane?
And then he goes to the mayor's office or whatever and makes that whole sideshow, orders the reporters to interview him in his own home. It was all very intriguing.
It was crazy. Like it was textbook for 2 reasons. Like it was textbook for the guy who's guilty, who wants to just cause so much attention that he's not guilty.
Yeah.
And, maybe he really is not guilty.
It's like, what would a guilty person do? Let me do the opposite.
Where he's getting persecuted
he
like this.
still claims he's innocent to this day, and so that begs the question,
he did it.
Do you think... He obviously, the way he hid all the evidence,
it was
he
like
burned everything, cleaned his everything.
Yeah.
His dad wanted to get the plane ticket. They obviously frame it like, he did something. But
it was like 17 kids had the green fiber on his...
I know, but they did say... That's the real question, though. 29 in total. Did he do all of them?
Yeah, because they say in the show that kids die all the time.
I think it was more of like a crossfire where he was getting his kids and they were kids getting taken.
When they staked out the KKK members, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get another one today." That was interesting. Maybe they did a couple too. It's like, "Oh, maybe we can jump in."
Yeah, exactly. Were you guys surprised that the KKK wasn't involved more in the season?
I guess it just really didn't have anything to do with the murders.
They were kind of like it was there,
at the outskirts.
It was like looming over the whole thing. That was what a lot of people thought it was. A lot of the people in the town, when the explosion happened, they thought it was the KKK again. So it was there, and who really knows, because only 2 convictions were made, and that was like a bittersweet ending because he has to basically go back to Mrs. Bell and be like, this is the way it works. Like I can't do anything. And that hit Holden a little hard too when he clearly can't believe it too.
Yeah, because
let's go take our victory lap. It's like, wait a second, there's still we only have 2 on the books. You have the 29, and that there's no closure.
In his head, he did do it. It's just he's not getting prosecuted for him, which I feel like Holden would have took that as a win though, because he does think it was Wayne Williams.
It was personal though. He very much was our connection for the audience to the cases and the families. And they don't have closure. He has to go tell them. And when he goes in, they're like, what do you want, like a thank you?
Yeah.
We have no, like...
You know what it is, too? Wayne was found guilty for the 2 murders, and they were both adults, none of the kids.
Yeah.
So it's like a shame that none of the kids is, like... We don't know if he killed those kids.
Did all the kidnappings and killings stop when he got arrested though?
It's a good question.
I didn't look that up. I didn't do it yet. I want to touch on something
so.
Before we end. I want to touch on something with the BTK killer.
Touch away.
I love the direction they're going with this subplot. How they're telling this story through cold openings.
Yeah,
I love that they're doing that.
I thought it was going to be this season because they teased it at the end of last season. They did something else, which I guess they're doing the long game here.
Well,
we'll finally get to see him in season 3. But the flashes were pretty great.
Well, I like it just because we don't see what these killers are doing. Like the aftermath or before, during their killings, and like why they do it. And we're kind of getting each step, and like he's like they're telling the story of him through these cold openings. All we really get is the interviews, and that's all we get actually is the interviews of these serial killers.
I feel so bad for that guy that just like they think he's the killer, but all he was doing is whacking it in the woods. I feel so bad for him.
You can relate.
Yeah, I totally can.
He knows
not
the
with the
place.
porno mags though. What am I, a pilgrim?
Who has goddamn porno mags anymore? Welcome to the 21st century, Buck Rogers. You designed a house with fucking iPads in the walls. Here you're jerking your dick like a goddamn pilgrim.
Wait, a funny scene was when Greg, when they sent Greg to ask the kids for if they want work, and they all just start shitting on him.
Oh,
and then the parents
Greg.
come from
Oh
the
my
roofs
God.
like, "What are you doing over here?"
Well, that was cool too. Like he was kind of testing his own theory
Yeah.
in an actual situation.
Oh yeah, why like a white guy wouldn't be able to do
Yeah,
this?
they would notice him more in this neighborhood, and it was a lot of different dynamics. And it's always in the back of your mind because it is so new. It's like, yeah, maybe he's wrong, but he ended up being right.
Yeah. Kudos. He followed his intuition.
That boy's good.
Yeah,
Smooth.
he is good.
This season definitely lived up to what I was expecting for me. And we got a lot of characters back. It was really cool, their dynamics together. I also really liked too was like how tension Holden both confided in Wendy instead of telling each other.
Yeah, right.
And they
Yeah.
just have like
Kept
this
getting
thing.
back to him.
So this whole time they just have like this animosity like building between them, and just talk it out, guys.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, I think it's on par with season one. It's quickly becoming one of my favorite shows. The subject matter is very intriguing to me, and they do a good job of presenting it and intertwining all of these different aspects into a season of television where it's never really a lull. You're always just wanting to watch more and more.
Yeah, this season lived up to the hype as the first season. I think it was better than the first season, but I've been so
Put a number on it, Ted.
for this one. I'll give this a 9.4.
Ooh,
Nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I
Nice
kind of have to
score.
agree with that.
I've been so like consumed with true crime recently though, and this is by far the best true crime show that I'm watching.
Yeah, it's
The character development in this is insane. I love what they're doing. The writing is great.
The acting is
And
fantastic
the
as well.
acting's even better.
yeah. I'll give like a 9.1. I don't know.
How
I
about
just
that?
fucking take these out of my ass. I like it. I liked it a lot.
So did I. Yeah, you caught me off guard with that. with
Why
that
don't you just
scoring.
do your system, the 0 or 1, whether I liked it or didn't like it?
The binary scale, it's useful, but some ones are better than others.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you need
Because in the
numbers.
binary, Goodfellas and, I don't know, fucking...
Napoleon Dynamite.
But my lips hurt real bad.
Just borrow some from the school nurse. I know she has like 5 sticks in her drawer.
I'm not gonna use hers, you sicko.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this video, and of course we would like to thank our Patreon supporters. Without you guys, Nerd Soup wouldn't be Nerd Soup. Seriously, your support is what keeps the fridge full, so thank you once again for your support. If you are interested in supporting Nerd Soup through Patreon, visit our page and check out the different rewards we offer to our fans. If not, then no problem. We appreciate anyone who takes time from their day to watch our videos. So thank you to each and every one of you out there watching, and remember to like and share this video. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like it. Or don't.